about something new that we've never talked about before, and that is Google's helpful content update that came out earlier this year. So excited to be talking about something new that we haven't really shared before, and I wanted to obviously get this information into your hands. So today we're going to talk about obviously what is the Google helpful content update. Why was it introduced? How does it impact search and content? And then I've got a bunch of actionable tips, things that you can do for your window treatment or awning business to make sure that you're not getting filtered or penalized or whatever you want to call it by Google for the content that you do have on your site now. So a little bit about me. My name's Will Henke. My business is called Window Treatment Marketing Pros. All we do is digital marketing for window treatment and awning companies across the U.S. I've been doing this for 27 years now, and we niched down to just the window treatment and awning industries in late 2017. I do have a book. If you do not have a copy of my book, we'll talk a little bit more about this in a bit. The book is Triple Your Window Treatment and Awning Leads. We are Google partners. We've been rated top SEO for several years now by the SEO blog agency. We're Google partners. I think I mentioned that. We're veteran-owned, family-owned business. Now, all of the different things that we talk about every month fit somewhere into our digital dominance method. And those are 12 different buckets, segments, whatever you want to call it, of things that you could be doing for your business when it comes to digital marketing. Now, as you probably know, there's a lot of things that you could do. There are a lot of pieces. You know, some people we talk to are doing social media. Some people we're talking to are doing SEO, or they're doing SEO and paid ads, or they're doing the newsletter. You know, they're doing some of these different pieces. Optimal world is you're doing all 12, but that is a lot of work and a lot of different things going on at the same time. So we have to break it down into different pieces. Today, we're going to be talking mostly about, number one, your website. It's really about the content on your site and what things you're putting out to other people as time goes on. So this is the digital dominance method, and mostly talking about step number one. So I do have some free stuff for you. I'd love to get into your hands, and it's free, so absolutely no cost to you. I'd also like to hear your questions. If you have any questions as we go through today, I do have the chat open here. I'm watching that, and I will try to answer your questions as we're going through it. If you've been on any of my workshops, you know I like to get the answers out there right away versus making you wait to the end to ask the questions. You're welcome to wait to the end to ask questions. However, if there's something you're not clear on, as we're going through it, I'd rather back up and make sure that everybody's clear as we're going through it. So use the chat feature on whatever platform you happen to be watching this on, and I'll do my best to get you the answers. So, all right, let's talk about the helpful content update. So the helpful content update, just what it sounds like, Google started looking at helpful content. What in the world is considered helpful content? This originally rolled out in the March, April timeframe when Google makes these bigger algorithm adjustments. They don't hit a button and it goes out everywhere. It takes time to roll that out across their tens of thousands of servers that they have. But we can see significant changes to rankings, things like that in that March, April timeframe. So the big thing related to the helpful content update is just what it sounds like. It was an update to Google's algorithm to take out some things that just weren't fantastic and weren't great when it came to content that was helpful for your visitors. So as you can expect, they prioritized quality content. Now, what's interesting here is the time frame when this rolled out kind of sort of coincides with the big AI push or the big AI announcements, right? All the AI stuff started around that same time. So it makes sense that Google would want to start prioritizing content because it can just be generated so quickly now that they needed a way to start figuring out, okay, what's good, what's bad, what is not helpful, what is helpful, right? So it's prioritizing quality content, of course. It is prioritizing value driven pages. So, really, the same thing, pages that provide genuine value to users. They answer questions, they help them solve a problem, they help them move further down the line on whatever it is that they are looking for or researching. That's a big piece of it. So, why was the update introduced really in the first place? Of course, I kind of already mentioned AI. I think that was a big piece of this coming out, was the fact that content became so much easier to create in the first place, but not quality content became easier to generate. Another thing is user demand. Google's listening to their users. Obviously, Google's number one goal is to provide their searchers with the best answer for whatever query somebody happens to be looking up. So it's in their best interest to get you to that answer as quick as possible. Users were saying that sometimes the content that they were landing on just wasn't that great and it wasn't that informative, didn't answer the question. And part of that is people in the SEO world figuring out how to optimize content or optimize pages, but not necessarily delivering the value side of things. So Google listened to their users and made a big change. Also, as I mentioned, AI content saturation is a big piece of this. There is so much content out there now that we need to have a way to start filtering out some of that low value content, some of that stuff that doesn't really help the end user move further down or check a box or whatever it is they're trying to do. That was a big piece of it. So it had to be useful, it had to be authentic, and it had to help that person with whatever it is they're trying to solve. So that is an overview of what the reason for the helpful content update to exist in the first place. Let's talk about how did it impact search and content overall. Well, I think you can probably understand that the more helpful the content is, the higher it's going to rank in Google, right? Google decided to start promoting those websites that had more helpful content and less about quantity, more about quality of the content. So that was a big thing. And getting ranked higher for different searches obviously results in your phone ringing more at the end of the day. You're answering questions in a better way. At the same time, superficial sites saw a decline in rankings. So a lot of these sites that were generating content or just putting out even short blogs, it's not necessarily that they're putting out poor content, they're just putting out a little bit of content. That also, got discounted because it just wasn't enough content to push the user further. So superficial sites using content generation machines will see a decline in rankings, and we'll actually see a screenshot of that here in a minute. Let's see, detailed product information. This is a great way to start getting more highly favored when it comes to the helpful content update. And we'll talk a little bit more about some other things you can do here in a minute. But the idea here obviously is quality over quantity. I think that would be the easiest thing to say here. Highly favored content includes, as I mentioned, detailed product pages. Every single product page that you have on your site needs to have detailed information about that. It should also have care and maintenance guides, so things that you can do to use the product that you're selling, so that users can see that as well. Benefits: what are the user benefits? So things such as light blocking, obviously motorization makes your life more convenient. All of these things need to be mentioned on the page and on every product page that that qualifies for those kinds of things. And then FAQs and SAQs, which is should ask questions. So one great way to build content is not just to put up the frequently asked questions that you get about the content, but you as an installer, as the owner of the company, tend to know more about these products than the average consumer. And there could be questions that you know they should be asking, but maybe they aren't. So putting those types of pieces of content out on your page, on your product pages, are going to just really start to set you apart from everyone else. So don't forget about those should ask questions as well. All right. So let's dig into, we talked a little bit about product pages. Let's dig in a little bit more into specifically for our industry. What are things that you can do to enhance your website and get more of the Google love? So I think the big one here is the product pages and making them more detailed. The more detailed you can be, the more helpful tips, the more things that you can talk about, different questions that people ask, and just add value is really going to help you. And even things like choosing the right awning, right? Or maintenance tips for your retractable awning, or maintenance tips for your new drapes, things like that, right? Make sure that you have as much information out there as you can. And the other side of this, obviously, I think one piece of pushback that we sometimes get is that people say, well, if I put all this out there, my competitors are going to see all this and they're going to copy it. But I wouldn't worry about that. I would worry more about making Google happy and getting those higher rankings, which is going to lead to more leads. I think that's really the focus and the mindset that you should have. But definitely have detailed guidance on different products and services that you do. In Google's eyes, you will be the industry expert because you are putting out the best content. You're putting out the most helpful content to your end users, and Google will reward you for that. They will consider you the experts, and that means higher rankings at the end of the day, which of course is fantastic. Higher visibility, exactly what I said. You'll rank for more and more terms. The other thing here is you're creating better content, probably longer content, which is going to just get you ranking for more keywords related to the industry. So not only higher rankings, but more rankings. So additional keywords that maybe you didn't consider that you could be ranking for now. So that's the other side of this, is driving more organic traffic and ultimately leads or sales to your business. All right, let's see here. I'm going to start talking about some actionable tips, but I wanted to jump over and just look at the chat and see if anybody has any questions up to now. If you do, put those into the chat here, and I will make sure that I get everything answered. So, all right, I don't see anything in there right now. Let's talk about some actionable tips around content creation, things that you can do to create better content or more helpful content, right? Obviously, user-centered. So this is a big issue where you need to focus on problems and solutions that are specific to our industry. So talk about those things that are good, that are bad, how to resolve things, how to fix things that are not working well, or how to better use a product. Talk about benefits, of course, those sorts of things related to your overall content. Detail guides, I've mentioned this. Talk about maintenance, talk about selection, how to select the right product for whatever it is that you're trying to do. Some companies can talk about the install side as well and how to measure things of that sort. Now, if you do your own installs, you probably wouldn't want to talk so much about how to measure, how to do those things. But you could have other guides related to maintenance, how to pick the right window treatment for such and such situation. Those types of things are very useful to people. Don't forget to incorporate visuals and lots of them. Now, I don't say go overboard with pictures, but definitely make sure that you incorporate pictures and visuals in all of your product pages, especially. People love to see pictures and envision how their home could look, how their windows could look. Before and afters always work really well. If you're doing an install, get some pics before, get some pics after. Those are always really good for people, for other visitors to your website that can use that to start to envision not only their home, but what you are capable of doing as well. So definitely incorporate visuals. All right, we have a question. I have a fairly old site and we have a lot of pages ranking. However, we've seen a lot of them no longer ranking for anything, just dropping. That's, yeah. If you can see that drop was in that March, April, maybe even May timeframe, that is probably because you have thin content or just not great content. Now, if you're just trending down, overall ever since a certain date, it could be the fact that you do have thin content. It could also be the fact that one of your competitors starting doing some ongoing SEO and they're just putting up better content. You were just ranking kind of by default because nobody was doing anything. So you might have been, resting on your laurels, if that makes sense, just kind of flying with it. But now that somebody else is putting pressure on it, it could be that they're just pushing you down for that reason. I'm not 100% sure, but those are the typical things that you would see in that situation. All right. Let's talk about website optimization. I just mentioned that a minute ago from that question. Here's a snapshot, and this, you could see if this looks familiar to you. This is very familiar to a lot of businesses that call us, and they say we had a drop, and then we kind of recovered, but now we've just been trailing off ever since. You can tell right away that this middle area is the helpful content update. This particular client was actually kind of just going straight across, right? They weren't doing anything great. They weren't ranking for more keywords or less keywords, just kind of cruising along. And then that update hit, you can see that big dip. Now, if you look above the organic keywords chart here, you can also see this other one here. The orange line here is overall content that was being produced. And you can see it's definitely steadily going up. So this particular client was putting out content on a regular basis, yet you still see this big drop. You see a dip here, and then you definitely see just kind of a big trailing off after that. So two things, they were putting out content. Maybe it wasn't the best content, and Google adjusted their algorithm to those kinds of things. So this has happened a lot to a lot of the companies that I've been talking to. Another thing that you can do, obviously, that person that asked that question mentioned that they have a fairly old site. If it's not mobile friendly, you've already taken yourself out of 60% of all searches, if not more. Google has two separate indexes. They have a desktop and a mobile index. So if your site is not mobile friendly, you're already not reaching 60, 70% of the potential crowd out there. So having a mobile optimized site, obviously very important. This is also called a responsive website, which most every site is that's been built within the last 10 years, 8 years, something like that. But I do still I just came across two of these in the last week. Two sites, window treatment companies that had called us and they did not have mobile friendly sites. So definitely a big important piece of that. Another thing is your page speed. So as you're putting out longer pieces of content that are more helpful, that additional code can slow down your site. If you add in some pictures, things like that, and they're not optimized, that can slow down your page load even more. So there does need to be a balance of getting the content that is helpful to people, to customers, and at the same time optimizing your site so that the pictures, the code, everything still loads quickly. And there should be no problem with a page that has 1,500 words on it. That should be no problem for Google to for your server to load that page quickly. So it's not necessarily the amount of content, because the content piece of it loads really quickly. It's the other things on the page that could slow it down. So don't think of that as, oh, I better cull my content back in order to get page speed up. There are other things that are more important along those lines, but it's definitely an important piece of this. User feedback. Don't forget to run surveys, feedback campaigns of some sort to understand what is it that your users want. Ask, obviously, your current customers, what made you choose us, or what made you visit our website, what made you decide to give us a call, and use that information to optimize your site and make it a little bit better. All right. Excuse me. All right, I'm going to take a quick drink here and check the chat. See if we got anything else. If you have any questions, go ahead and put those into the chat there, and I will make sure to answer those as we go. All right, I don't see anything in there right now. If you're typing, I'll see it in just a minute. But let's talk about actionable tips related to engaging your audience. Things that you can do to get them, obviously, to take action, right? Now, I mentioned Q&A, or frequently asked questions, or should ask questions. All of those need to be on your site, on your pages, especially the product-related pages, for sure. That is definitely important. So I got a question here. Thanks. How about AI content? Intern mentioned that we could just use AI content to replace the ones that aren't ranking anymore. Will that be considered helpful content? So yes and no. Yes, it will be considered helpful content compared to probably what you had up there previously. But Google brought out their own AI content generator. So you can only expect that they also know how to detect AI related content. So best case scenario is human written content. That's best case scenario. Second best case scenario would be something like using an AI content generator to create an outline, and then having a real human actually create or write that content so that it doesn't come across as AI generated. Now, your question sounds like you just want to jam in some AI content and publish that to replace what was bad. I probably wouldn't do that. I would take those pages that were ranking and just make them better. They were ranking because Google found something on there, signals related to other links to those pages, things like that. There was a reason that it was ranking. If it's not ranking now, then it's probably just a lack of value, a lack of good content. So I would actually take those pages and just make them better, optimize them, expand on what you already have there. Don't full on replace, expand on what was there. I think would be a better way to go with that. Add in those things like I'm talking about, Q&As, frequently asked questions, should ask questions. Add that into that content, and you might see those pages bounce right back up in the rankings, or at least start to gain some more traction. I think that would be a better approach for that. Testimonials. Don't forget about real experiences that people have had with your brand. Put those on your site. Use those as those trust factors to get the word out about your business. Now, I should mention one thing. Testimonials and reviews are kind of two different things. So reviews you really want to get on Google's platform or Yelp or Facebook, those types of platforms. Testimonials are things that customers have sent to you that they've said. It could be from a Google review, but things that you publish on your website related to testimonials are not going to be trusted by Google. They're not going to penalize you for them, but they're great trust factors for customers that are coming to your site. So you definitely want to have them there as that positive trust factor. But understand that if you're trying to improve your overall SEO, you want to drive people to leave reviews on really on Google, if possible. Your Google business profile is the number one place to get those kinds of things done. But definitely make sure that you're showcasing some of your 5-star reviews. Definitely do that. Update regularly. So when I bring these kinds of things up related to content, I always get the question, how often should I be publishing content on my site? And the answer is it's kind of a tough one, right? You need to produce quality content. So how long does that take for you to create? I think that's a big piece of this. And then how often can you do that is the second question. If you use like ChatGPT to create some topic outlines, that might help you cut down on that time, where you can get a piece of content out every week or maybe every 2 weeks. The trick here is consistently update your website. So if you're able to publish 2 pieces of content a month, then stay on that schedule, 1st and 15th or something along those lines, right? Always be very consistent when you put it up. What you don't want to do is front load a ton of content and then not do anything for 4 or 6 months. That would be, not great. It's the regularly in this slide that is the most important. All right. Any other questions on the chat here? I want to make sure that we got everything covered. Let's see. Someone from my team mentioned that AI or bot content will be considered helpful content if it was creating with helping as the priority and not specifically just to rank. So if you're just creating content because you want to rank for more keywords or better keywords, it's probably not going to do that. If you create content even using AI that is helpful and will ultimately add to the value of the page, then definitely makes a lot of sense there. All right, I do not see any other questions. If you are watching the replay, obviously you can put your questions there and we'll follow up with you. But that is all about the helpful content update and when it rolled out, what it was all about. I don't see any questions here, so we will cruise on to the free stuff. So I did mention the book earlier. If you don't have a copy of my book, Triple Your Window Treatment and Awning Leads, I will get one of these in the mail to you absolutely free. Just go to wtmarketingpros.com/book, and I will get that mailed out to you. Another thing that might be really helpful for you when you're thinking about what kind of content should we be creating, especially around blog posts and things of that sort, you can grab our top keywords. I think it's top 81 keywords for the window treatment or awning business. You can grab those absolutely free, wtmarketingpros.com/keywords. You don't have to put in your email or anything like that. Just go there and grab that, download that list. That'll give you a really good start on the keyword side of things. Now, if you want to talk more about how we could potentially help your business, I'd love to jump on a call and just talk about your goals, what you're trying to accomplish. It is almost the end of the year. So what are you trying to accomplish in 2024? And then I can give you, a really good understanding of the landscape. What are your competitors doing? What are you doing? What signals is your website sending to Google, positive or negative, related to your site? We can look at your social media presence. We can talk about your website conversion effectiveness, all these different things. wtmarketingpros.com/strategy is a link to my calendar get a time on there and we can chat all about what you're trying to do and see if there's a way that we can help you make that happen. Now, next month, we're talking all about paid ad strategy. So pay-per-click or Google Ads is obviously a big piece of that, but there are other platforms out there that you can also be adding money to and getting leads from. So we'll be talking about those next month, and there's a QR code on your screen. You can actually shoot that QR code and sign up for that right away or visit the link on the site. Very excited to have you here, and hope that you found some good value in this today. And again, give us a call or grab a time on my calendar, and hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Take care, everybody. Thanks.